Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading an Arlecchino Accessory by me. So let's get into it. You stood by the entrance of the house, fastening the last buckle of your uniform, while Arlecchino went over final reports with Lenny. Her voice carried over the courtyard. Calm, sharp, efficient, and yet, even from a distance, you could feel the weight of her focus. You'd gone on missions before, countless ones, but this time felt different. Maybe it was the way her eyes kept flicking towards you between words, or maybe it was the way she'd lingered at breakfast. When she finally dismissed Lenny and turned to you, the faintest crease sat between her brows. "You'll be supervising as usual. Recon only. No direct engagement." He smirked lightly. Yes, you've said that 10 times before. Don't worry, Arlie." Her eyes narrowed. And somehow, even though I tell you every time, you find a way to do the opposite of what I say. You laughed under your breath, but her expression didn't waver. She stepped closer, close enough that you could smell the faint scent of ink and smoke that always lingered on her. "Listen to me. If anything feels wrong, you pull back. No hesitation. Understood?" You smiled, reaching out to straighten the lapel of her coat. "Understood, my lord." Her lips pursed into a thin line at your teasing, but you still caught the ghost of a smile before she turned away. The mission began like any other. You were there to track a band of smugglers accused of stealing Fatui's shipments, but something felt off from the moment you arrived. It was far too quiet. No footprints, no sound but the wind. You signaled for the group to stop, crouching down to inspect the snow. It was undisturbed, pristine. "They were supposed to be here," one of the recruits muttered. You frowned, hand hovering over your dagger. "Stay close, eyes open." You moved forward cautiously, the crunch of snow under your boots the only noise. And just as you were about to call it off, something whistled past your ear. "Everybody down!" You shouted, but it was too late. The first explosion hit to your right, a burst of smoke and dust that sent the recruits scattering. You barely managed to raise your arm to block a second blast before a net of glowing energy shot from the shadows, wrapping around you like iron thorns, and you fell hard onto the ice. "Oyan!" Someone yelled. Your head spun. You could barely make out the shapes of attackers, masked and quick, moving like they'd been waiting for you. This wasn't an ambush for the team. No, they wanted you specifically, and a part of you was relieved. Those people, they were too young. They were the children that you and Arlecchino raised. They tried to fight back, but the enemies were stronger and faster. You struggled against the bindings, burning through a surge of power just to cut yourself loose. But before you could rise to your feet, something hard struck you on the back of your head, and everything went black. When you woke up, you felt cold. You were sitting on a hard floor, your wrist shackled above you. Your cloak was gone, your weapon stripped, and the faint hum of a barrier surrounded the cell-like static in the air. Whoever they were smart, and knew very well how to tamper with the elements, so some of them had to have visions. You groaned softly, testing the restraints. They didn't move. and a door creaked open somewhere in the dark. Well, well. The famous assistant to the knave herself. How fortunate for us. You looked up to see a tall man step into the dim light. Where's everyone? You asked sharply. He smiled. Alive, for now. They were smart enough to run once we took you. Though I imagine your harbinger won't be far behind. If you know that, you know what happens when she finds you. His smile widened. Oh, I'm counting on it. After all, you're the best bait that we can get. Your pulse quickened, but you refused to show it. You're a fool if you think she'll walk into whatever trap you set. Am I? She's dangerous, yes. But love makes fools of everyone. Even the knave. We'll be ready when she comes. Until then, consider yourself our honored guest. He let out a shaky breath once he was gone. It wasn't fear coursing through you now. It was anger. Not for yourself, but for what you knew Arlecchino would do when she found out. Because she would find out. And when she did, there would be nowhere in Fontaine safe enough to hide from her wrath. Back at the House of the Hearth, the news arrived within hours. Lenny stood in front of Arlecchino's desk, his voice trembling as he explained everything he heard. The ambush, the fight. And for a long moment, Arlecchino said nothing. Her eyes were fixed on the map spread before her. But her knuckles were white, where she gripped the edge of the table. Lynette tried to speak, but Arlecchino raised a hand to silence her. Enough, she said quietly. Her tone was calm. Too calm. We'll help look for them. We can... No. You'll do nothing. But... I said no. Her voice didn't rise, but the air itself seemed to still. And for the first time, the children felt her anger, her rage. And it was not hot and burning, no. It was freezing cold. She turned to leave. If they've taken someone close to me, then they've declared war, and I will not back down.